Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Entertainment Plaza in Review with your host, future Hall of Famer Moses Plaza, Master Chief Andy De Jesus, Scott Marshall the author, Kylan Brown, the one they call Smoothie, Angel Rivera, and from YouTube.com/Psychosics, Brian Plaza. This is the Entertainment Plaza in Review. What's going on, everybody? This is your boy Moses Plaza, and you are watching the Entertainment Plaza in Review. I'm joined by my boy Angel,
Going on, fellas?
Master Chief himself, Andy,
Yo, yo, what's up?
Scott Marshall, the author, Kylan Brown,
Right on.
and from YouTube.com/Psychosics, Brian Plaza.
What do you do?
Just some housekeeping for you. If you would like to watch this show live, you can find us on twitch.tv/The Entertainment Plaza. You can also catch us on YouTube by searching The Entertainment Plaza on YouTube.com. And if you would like to listen to us on your favorite podcast, just search The Entertainment Plaza on your favorite podcast. But with that out the way, today we are reviewing the Batman movie. We actually got an early screening yesterday, and we are here today to review it. No spoilers, so you don't have to worry about any of that. The movie, let's talk a little bit about the movie here. The movie had a runtime of 2 hours and 55 minutes, which is the longest Batman film to date and the second longest theatrically released comic book movie, only behind Avengers Endgame. It was directed by Matt Reeves with music done by Michael Giacchino, who also did a lot of the music for many of his other movies like the Planet of the Apes trilogy. We have Let's see here. It was a budget between $100 and $185 million, and expected box office between $135 and $185 million opening weekend, and $340 and $540 million for total domestic box office. But that shall remain to be seen. Andy, I want to start with you, man. What did you think about this movie? Just a quick thoughts.
It was a different Batman movie. You had to, it's not your typical superhero movie with big action. It's more slow paced, more of a thriller. Um, it it took me a while to digest everything and like to really think about how I felt about it, but I kind of liked it. It was different.
How about you, Angel?
So, with me, kind of like with Andy, it was good. It was good, but it was a little slow at some point there. I feel like the movie could have been a little shorter, and that probably would have helped it a little bit. Couple scenes where just so much. Just I kind of felt like they were just trying to make the movie long.
Yeah.
Uh, Overall, it was pretty good. It was different, but it was pretty good. Batman movie that I like, but I could see why other people would like it.
Kylan, your thoughts?
I would say I'm the harshest critic out of the bunch. I'm a huge Batman fan. For me, I wouldn't. I can see the ups and the downs in the movie. I wouldn't necessarily say that I enjoyed the movie. There were parts that I did like. There were parts about Batman that I did like, and more so stuff that I didn't like. Um, like Angel said, I did feel like the movie did go past its point in time that it needed to. Some parts dragged out a little farther than it needed to be. Um, Overall, I'm sitting on the fence. Like I said, I'm a harsher critic because Batman's more my world. Um, but the more we talk about it, the more I'll get into everything that I really thought about it.
And Brian, besides Catwoman, what did you like about the Batman movie?
Well, I mean, the movie for sure. I can't definitely say if it was good or bad. I do have mixed feelings about it. I definitely do agree, though, that the runtime just seemed way too long for the amount that was in the movie. There were quite a bit of scenes where I was like, all right, well, this is going to end, and then it dragged right back on. I felt like some things could have been done a little bit differently. Overall, like I said, I can't really say good or bad, but I did take some interest in it.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. The movie did not have to be 2 hours and 55 minutes. That was way too long. Um, I did like the movie. I went into it with like a complete slate, um, trying not to think about the Dark Knight trilogy or any of the older movies. I would say that I did like the movie a lot. Just like I went into it with the same mindset as I went into with the Joker movie that recently came out. So I did like the overall premise of the movie. Definitely way too long, uh, but overall, I was extremely pleased with the Batman movie. Um, with that, who wants to start with some of the some points that they have about the Batman movie, dislikes, likes, more so of an overview.
All right. For me, Batman sometimes, well, nowadays you're used to these superhero movies with big action scenes and like, crazy things. Like Marvel has it down to a science, but they had it. It's been years now that they've been doing it. DC's a little lost and they just, I don't know, but this was different. I think it's a good step forward for them. Um, Batman's always been a more dark, slower. He doesn't really have superpowers. His villains are not very, they don't really have superpowers either. So that's why the movies can be kind of a little slow, a little boring. The fight scenes were there weren't many. That's one. I
Right.
think that was one of my issues. There was maybe two or three good scenes. With the fight scenes, the rest was just him more being a detective. Another thing is I don't know. I didn't get to, this is the first time you see him in the suit that much, and I understand why they did it because
Right.
I didn't like his Bruce Wayne. Like
Bruce Wayne.
they
Right.
didn't do a lot of good explaining, like when it really took place.
Right.
Like how old he was. If it's like that's why he was acting the way he was because it was such a younger Bruce Wayne, or I think there's a lot missing in the story. You know what I'm saying? They could have gone with better than trying to bring in Catwoman, bring in the Penguin, and like three different villains or three. I think it was too much. They're too ambitious, and it just didn't. I don't think it meshed well. Like what I'm saying. I just felt lost too much. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know.
I feel like if you came into this movie not knowing anything about it, you might leave it still not knowing anything about it. I feel like I came into the movie with a bad taste of trying to figure out how Robert Pattinson was going to actually play Batman, but at the same time, I went into the same thing with who was the last one to play Batman?
Christian Bale.
Ben Affleck.
Ben
Oh,
Ben
Ben
Affleck.
Affleck.
I
Affleck.
wanted to say
Yeah,
with Ben
Ben
Affleck,
Affleck.
but then I ended up not hating Ben Affleck. I don't think this movie changed my thoughts on the character. I mean, the actor that they chose to play Batman this time around. I just don't feel like he did it for me. Um, and he definitely didn't, in my opinion, didn't pull off the Bruce Wayne aspect of Batman as well, because it is a combination between Bruce Wayne and Batman, and
Right.
the
Right.
two go hand in hand, and it's either you do one good or you do the other one good or both. And in my opinion, I felt like he didn't do Bruce Wayne justice, and his Batman. There are a lot of things about the Batman that I did like that they brought with him, but most of it I didn't.
I think I did like.
Um,
Oh, go ahead, Angel.
just the fact that I feel like I'm back a little bit when it comes with the Batman character there. It was like a broke man version of Batman. Like this
Yeah.
guy to be a millionaire, big bucks,
Yeah.
and
Right.
like, you know,
Yeah, we're
just
used to seeing the Playboy billionaire Batman, and
right.
now we're
This guy,
seeing
yeah,
the depressed. I mean,
Emo
granted, yes, he
Batman.
did lose his parents, right? He's the younger Batman, still trying to figure out what the heck just happened. But damn, bro,
exactly.
like
He
you know
didn't
what I
lose his
mean?
money though.
Right,
He might have
exactly.
lost his
So
parents, but he didn't lose his money. You wouldn't have known that in this movie though.
right,
Using dial-up internet technology when it's like this
Right.
man's a millionaire. Like,
Right.
the stuff that is just I don't know. It just kind of threw me off there a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, a lot of the things that you saw um, him as Batman interact with was a little offsetting. Some things were like, wow, this is really technologically advanced.
Right.
other things, you're like, why is the Batman using such old stuff? He definitely did take on a more per se detective type, in my opinion, which I mean, I guess per se isn't too bad because as the vigilante as Batman is, you kind of do have to figure out some things here and there. Um, but Robert Pattinson as the Batman, as a personal opinion, I don't like him. I don't think he played the role too well. I feel like he just wasn't the right embodiment of Batman.
I think he was
Agreed.
as Batman, like Guylan said, he did okay as Batman, which I'm glad he was again 80-90% of the time in the bat suit. As Bruce Wayne, you have to realize that he is a young, depressed Bruce Wayne now, as opposed to how we're used to seeing him as a young playboy, philanthropist, billionaire who has no problem driving around with 4 or 5 girls, you know? So it's like they kind of switched it up. I read somewhere that they said that usually he starts out as the young, happy guy and grows old and then becomes grumpy and depressed. Where now he is starting as the grumpy, depressed guy and hopefully eventually grow old to be happier with what he's doing in life as far as being Batman and being Bruce Wayne. But yeah, with that being said, he definitely, Ben Affleck, yes, better. Christian Bale, absolutely better. There is, I think
Yeah,
so, man. I think
don't start.
he was
Don't start.
Christian Bale was better in part one in Batman Begins, and
Batman
the
Begins,
second
yeah.
one he was a
He
way
was just
better Batman.
outshined.
Now the third
Yeah,
one
he
was
Yes, but are you gonna put Patton over? I mean, you're gonna put Robert over Christian in any of those movies? In this movie that you just saw, would you put any his Bruce Wayne or his Batman over Christian Bale? As much as you go against Christian Bale,
I
would you put?
Christian Bale and Part 3 is
horrible.
probably one of the worst.
He was a
Actually,
parody of himself. Like he was like, I'm
yeah,
gonna take
it
what
was
I
bad,
did
bad.
as Batman in part 1 and 2 and multiply that by 1,000, and it was so bad. Like part 3, Dark Knight Rises, I think, right?
How much is that
Yeah.
on him or the directors? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true too. But I mean, he had now with third movie, you know, I'm sure he has some leeway on what he wanted to do with the character.
Right. I mean, but the thing that got me was his size. Like when he was standing by next to a few people, he looked
Yeah.
too
Smaller.
normal, small.
Yeah.
Like when you see
Mhm.
Batman, you want to see like a guy that's a little intimidating. You see him in the dark,
Right.
like when he pops in and out. The way they did it was good. You know what I'm saying? Like it was very dark.
Right.
I'm very into the darkness and the cinematic was good. Like they had that good vibe of it being very dark. I hated that it rained a lot. I don't know. I kept telling God,
was-
I was like, I don't know why in every scene
Right.
I felt like it was
It
raining. It made no
rained.
sense.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. It was good because it was different. You know what I'm saying? They went a different route and it was good. I just feel like nothing
So,
really stood out in the movie.
Yeah. So in
Right.
in the Twitch chat, I got Skylar, Sky Amazing Guy, who happens to be Andy's cousin. He said the rain was dope, and he said Pattinson and Ben's Batman are the two best in his opinion. So
What?
I mean,
What?
I mean, we
Wha-
can't give it to Val
Sign
Kilmer.
him off.
Val Kilmer's
Sign
like
him off.
that's
Val
Val
Kilmer.
Kilmer and George Clooney. You know, they might as well just be. That's it. Like that might as well just been me and Brian as Batman. You know what I mean? Even with the height
Right.
Yeah,
difference.
but
I mean,
also you have
I
to
think I'd do a good Batman.
Who's that?
Fat Man.
What'd you say,
Maybe
Brian?
Fat Man. I don't know about
No,
Fat Man.
I'm just saying. I think I would do a pretty good Batman. I mean, get in and out of spaces. I'm short. They won't find me.
Yeah, but you get stuck in a lot of places too.
That's all right.
I mean, I feel like when you look at the George Clooney, Val Kilmer, you have to look at the time that it came out and
Yeah, the time
how
period,
was
right,
it for that
right.
time. So when you look back, it may not stand, the test of time because of everything we came upon. But at that time, you're like, oh, that joke was
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Like
That was
at that time,
that was
when you
DC's
watch,
fault.
like if you watched it at that time, if we were doing a review on those movies at that time, would you have hated them or disliked them as much as we do now, looking back?
I mean, yeah, I mean, you have a point. That is true, but you know, we can still have, for instance, Robert Pattinson. We're still saying that Batmans in the past were better than the Batman now. You know what I mean? We're just saying that Val Kilmer himself was not good.
Right. I hear that.
So
I just think that the movie missed, like, it just needed something besides
yeah,
that the one car scene, like,
the car
Yeah.
scene.
what I'm saying? Like,
It
Yeah,
had to do too with how long the movie was. I feel like if they would have made it, shorter, they could have made it better. I feel like because they were trying to make it that long, they didn't. Means that if the scene would have been 5-10 minutes shorter, it would have been a good scene.
yeah,
That's the main reason there why.
I mean, the movie was very bleak, but in a good sense. I mean, color schemes and stuff like that, you can't really expect extravagant. It's the Batman.
right.
I do think that they did miss um focal points of the Batman. Like, why is Batman? Why is he who he is?
Right.
A lot of that was definitely missed. There was no per se storyline until halfway through, maybe towards the end, where you really started to pick up on, all right, this is that, this is maybe why he is why he is. He was a very dark and probably the most vengeful
Oh
of
yeah.
the Batmans, at
Well, I
least
mean, he
in my
did say,
opinion.
I mean,
"I
vengeance. Yeah,
vengeance."
right.
Yeah,
Right. I agree, Brian. I definitely agree with that, and it's weird because you have with the whole Christian Bale area, it was supposed to be a darker Batman, like the Dark Knight Rises, and once that ended, we were supposed to get like completely different Batman, which I guess we
Right.
kind of did with the guy I still can't remember his name.
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah. That's the thing.
But
I never
but
remember Ben Affleck as a Batman. Like
I always think
every
he was
time,
Daredevil.
you say, I'm like, oh, that's right, he played Batman.
I think of Daredevil, but
Because
I
he
think
didn't get a standalone.
right. But with this character, it's almost it's hard because like I said, coming out of it, I still don't like him. Like Andy said, he was smaller. He wasn't intimidating as they make Batman to be in anything that they
Right.
do. Batman, he's intimidating. And then I feel like they dropped so many things with him, what makes Batman Batman, because and they not to.
I think of
There's a lot
Jimmy.
of
I think of
there's a lot of
Jimmy.
aspects that makes Batman Batman, and I feel like they dropped so much of it.
I'm hoping that that's the trilogy kind of like cleans that up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the problem was that they were trying to give too much time to like the Riddler and the other characters. They were trying to. It was more like a coming out for them than it was for
Yes,
Batman himself.
but think of Bane as a villain, and then think of these villains here. I feel like in that movie, Bane went harder. You
Yeah.
felt that as a villain. These you're just
No, I
like
know these villains were boring. But that's what I said about earlier. Like,
Yeah.
like Batman's villains are kind of always boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like I mean, I understand the way they did it, because every time you come out with a new movie, you kind of have the same story beginning. You know,
Right.
yeah, his parents died. Yeah, so it was different. I liked how they did it. They started it different.
Yeah, I
You didn't
didn't
have to
need
go
to
through that
see
whole
his parents
process.
die
Yeah,
again.
yeah,
I didn't need to
exactly,
see that.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and
So
I mean,
it started out. Like I thought it started out really good, very very dark, very like different. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I was really entertained for the first like half hour. I was like, okay, but then there was like some points where it just dragged on. Like some of the scenes just kind of dragged on when he was trying to be too much of a detective. And there was kind of obvious points too. Like it's like, okay, like that you're not doing nothing really special right here. You know what I'm saying? So some of them scenes could have got cut out and definitely made this movie by like two. They could have been like 2 hours 20 minutes the most. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, even
there's
2.5
easy 40
hours
minutes.
would have been like a typical, superhero movie.
Right.
But
and like Andy said earlier, you don't have. It's not a different type of movie where you have everyone super powered. You're coming with these super powered villains. You're coming with the break scenes. So with the and you have Gotham, and Gotham's always dark. But in saying that, Andy and I talked the whole time where we were trying to figure out, and just like Brian brought up with the whole technology thing earlier, we were trying to figure out what time period
Time frame, right?
yeah, what time period was this movie
Yeah.
set in, because a lot of things were here and then they were here, and
Yeah.
it was like a little bit off. So that was a thing watching that was a bit confusing for us as we watched it, and I don't think I ever really got an answer
I think
from
it was more so for me, I think the whole movie was more grounded in reality as opposed to like fantasy. I mean, yes, it's Batman,
Okay.
it's a comic
Yeah.
book, it's fake, right? But we
Right.
don't have like Sub-Zero in this
Yeah, there wasn't a
cryogenic
lot
chamber.
of CGI.
Yeah, there
I get
wasn't
what you're saying, right.
you know,
Yeah. Right.
all these superheroes that look weird, that look like they're aliens. We have normal
Right.
people being bad people, you know. So,
Right. Right.
uh,
And that makes a good point. That does when you think of the movie like that, it does change the movie up a little bit because you're getting reality, and that
Right.
does make one of the good parts of the movie that I did like is the way that Batman did fight most of the time.
Right.
Most of the time. I thought that brought a different aspect, and I feel like a lot of people who watch this movie will enjoy that part of Batman. That's one thing that everyone I think will take away from this movie and really like about this movie. And just the first, like, what was it, 5 seconds into the movie, like the 2 seconds right into the movie, you're like, okay, this is going to be something because of that aspect of this Batman.
Away. Like when it first started, I'm like, okay, if they're starting the movie off like this, but then it went like the pulse stopped,
Yeah.
flatline.
Right.
dude, when it first started and Riddler killed the mayor. First of all, one,
Hey.
Hey.
whoops,
Oh,
spoiler. Well, when it
Jesus.
first started, I was like, oh man, I was like, damn, is this a horror movie? Like, I literally jumped. I was like,
Yeah.
I grabbed Brian and I was like, protect me,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
At first,
he
Another
used me
Batman.
as a shield. I
Yeah.
don't get it.
it was definitely a horror movie. The music was great. Like Skylar said in the chat, he's like, the music in the film was epic. I think it was epic. It was
No,
very
it was definitely
tense.
good. Yeah, it
I
was
mean,
definitely good.
but it never stopped. That was one of my problems. It was like 2 hours and 55 minutes of this real tense music, tense scenes. I felt like I was grabbing my seat and just squeezing it because I was like, all right, what's going on here? This music is really like playing with my emotions right now.
Right.
And
Yeah, it was like
yeah.
a build up for something that wasn't there.
yeah, right,
It was
right.
it was
just
orchestrated.
very, very tense.
As a music guy, it was orchestrated very well.
Yeah, I
But
agree 100%.
the
It felt
build
more
up,
like
you just you didn't know what was gonna happen. You were like,
Right.
something's gonna happen, then nothing happens, and you're like, why is this music still going?
Right.
it was like a mystery thriller, bro. With Batman in it. It's like
It really
which
was. Yeah.
is not bad. You know what I'm saying? But when you think of superhero movies, you people are going to go in thinking, big action scenes, big,
Right.
big crazy stuff. But when I sit back and think about it, and you think about, if you know who Batman is and what he does, they did good. It's just I think they could have got a better Batman. I mean, I know Skyler's not going to be happy about that, but
Right. So listen, I have a question per se. I felt like I went into this movie, and as I watched it, I you discover who the villains are. I don't know. Most people probably know who the villains are in this movie. It's no secret for the villains. But I found myself comparing them to
And who they
older.
kill because of me.
Yes. Right. I felt myself comparing them to older villains because I'm looking back at more 90s movie where you have Danny DeVito as the Penguin, and to me that's probably my favorite because of how he looks.
That's your favorite Penguin?
Yes.
See, that's the thing.
Because
I can't.
because of how he looks and comes across. Yes, that's like the atmosphere. I mean, everything that they brought with that character. I feel like in the 90s, everything they did with villains was they went really hard on whatever
comic
that
book style.
character.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
comic.
Honest, since you brought that up, that was your favorite.
Mhm.
Let's stay in that topic there.
Right.
Like let's talk about that. Who's like, in your opinion? So we know Guyland, that was yours. How about me personally? That was my favorite. Only
For the
because
Penguin?
when I think about the Penguin,
Yeah.
like
Danny-
on this Danny DeVito's okay.
only because like when I think about the Penguin and the villain, that's who I see.
Right.
When I picture it, like even if you take away the fake nose he has in that movie or whatever, like walking down the street, even the way he walks in real
Yeah.
life,
Mhm.
that's who I picture.
Right.
So I feel like because of the movie, any other movie that comes out and have a penguin, it's like, nah, it's okay, but not as good as this guy.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
And
but-
even speak before you say the speaking on the Penguin, when you watch the animated movies that they dropped, they mostly all look like some sort of that penguin. Although I would say watching Gotham the series, I did like the penguin that was in it because it's mainly him. But reverting back, they kind of use that penguin looking type guy for everything that they kind of do. And then when you get this one, you have Colin Farrell, which is a little bit different. Go ahead, Mo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, as far as the penguin, like I said, this movie is very grounded in reality. We're not
Right.
seeing a penguin who literally came out from Antarctica, and
Right.
mutated into this, gym ball.
Right.
You know what I mean,
Yeah,
with
you're right. You're
carrot
right.
nose. So we almost have an origin story of the penguin, and I do like this version of the penguin. Now, again, I like stuff that's new. So for me, when I see a new penguin and I'm like, all right, I like how they portrayed him. I can literally see this guy walking down the street and believe that that's an actual human being as opposed to some sort of mutation or however, I don't know
I
the
mean, Danny
lore.
Mead, it wasn't necessarily a mutation,
Right,
but
right, but I don't know the
No,
lore that
but
great
yeah,
for
I see where
Batman,
he's
but
going
right,
with
right.
it.
and the
I
same
get
thing
it.
with
Yeah, I
like
agree.
the Joker. We had an origin story with the Joker on how he became the Joker in the Joaquin Phoenix version. Um, and then with Batman, Catwoman, like I like how it's grounded in reality and still has this fantasy aspect to it. That's why I like a lot of these characters more so than the past because yeah, we've seen that every single time. We see these new, movies with the same characters and it's still very much so based off of fantasy as opposed to reality if you can even call it that.
Right.
Take Batman away from this movie, it would have been a great movie. I mean, like
I don't know about that.
Catwoman. The Catwoman, I feel like you said, it's as like other movies. I feel like she was like a you could possibly run into her somewhere out here. You know what I
Right.
mean? With the Penguin, like he's they portray them that is like normal people.
Hmm.
And I guess you could say the same with the Batman on this one, but I just felt they were more, it's more realistic.
How about you,
I
Brian?
agree.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we like go into the topic of like Catwoman, I definitely feel like they took a different turn with her. Instead of being like a regular cat burglar, she had a purpose. She was doing
Yeah.
things for a reason. And in that sense, Catwoman, yes, is a villain, but in this movie, I would put villain very lightly.
Yeah.
I
Just
don't
another
I don't see
vigilante.
her as that. Yeah, I don't see her as that, and definitely did love her as Catwoman. I
Oh, I know.
can't say that
I
I
was sitting
didn't.
beside you the whole time, bro. I know.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Right.
The
I agree.
I did like Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I wouldn't say she's my favorite Catwoman. I think that still goes to Anne Hathaway um, as my favorite Catwoman. Halle Berry. I'm sorry, but that was a horrible movie. And
Yeah. Right.
that's and then who was the original? Not original.
Michelle
Well,
Michelle
Pfeiffer.
Pfeiffer. Yeah, she
well,
was
she
good
wasn't
too
the
for the
original
time.
because I think
Yeah, way back in
Eartha Kitt was what's her name, but Michelle
right,
Pfeiffer.
right. In my generation, at least, from what I can remember, yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer,
Right.
Anne Hathaway, Halle Berry, unfortunately, uh, and
Mo,
Zoe.
on the Anne Hathaway, what makes her is the best?
I think she's still very much so, like Brian said, the cat burglar, but very believable, as opposed to someone who, like Michelle Pfeiffer, um, and Halle Berry, I just didn't believe them as much as, they were more comic book based for me, where
Yeah. Right. You're
Anne
right.
Hathaway, and again, I'm not very well versed in the comic book, so that's probably why I relate more to the characters who seem like actual people. You know what I mean? So that's why I like Anne Hathaway, as far as Catwoman, my favorite.
In my opinion, that's my pick for the best. Also, I think going into it, like when I said she was going to be it, to me, I'm like, I don't know, like what Princess Diary, like movies like that, like she always played like real dorky, kiddie movies, and like her role was she did an amazing job in that movie. they portrayed her. She was really like real smart. It wasn't just
Yeah.
about her like sexy looks and try to like, win over that way. She was just, she was super smart. She like outsmarted everyone.
Yeah.
Pretty.
How about
Yeah.
So we talked about the Penguin. We talked about Catwoman. As far as Batman, did we say who we thought was our favorite Batman?
We did not.
We dabbed into it a little
Yeah,
bit, but
dabbled.
like,
Yeah.
didn't
Right.
dive in.
I mean, we know it's. I mean, another thing is the Riddler. We haven't really
Yeah,
given
the
him
Riddler,
much.
Yeah,
right.
I was going to bring the Riddler up, but
I didn't know how I felt about his character.
It's
Like, I
tough.
felt like he was trying to be too much like the Joker and Bane at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And I like the way the darkness of the way when they went with it and like what he was trying to do. But at some point, like I said, there's like I think maybe too many characters going on because at one point I didn't feel like what we needed the Penguin for at some point in the movie. And then
yeah,
at some point you lost contact with the Riddler. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it was like
I would say
I don't know.
for me, the Penguin was my favorite character in the entire movie.
I thought he
Especially
was
like
the
that
better
back,
eyeball to it, right?
like half, which was like 3 hours long. The back half, where he was making
Mhm.
all the jokes, and that was like, I was like, all right, I'm really starting to like this part. And I could have used a lot more Penguin and a lot less of everybody else.
Yeah, I would have done the same thing. The Riddler, I don't know. I think he looked cool, compared to.
The Jim
Yeah,
Carrey,
I mean-
Jim
But at
Carrey
first, I thought he
version.
was Scarecrow. I thought he was Scarecrow at first when I first saw the
Yeah, I can
trailer.
see that,
because
yeah,
that's what
I can see
you-
that, right.
Yeah, it's
Agreed.
I feel like a lot of the way he was introduced, he gave off 3 different villains. Like you would say, originally he kind of looked a bit like the Scarecrow,
Yeah.
and then you see his costume and the way that he speaks and the way that he interacts. You're like, that's definitely Bane.
Right.
And then he does another thing, and you're like, wait a second, he's acting way too loony. This is the Joker. It was like trying to put the villains together was really hard for me, at least, because there was no clear this is who, because the way that the characters acted really threw you off.
Yeah.
It's not what they act like.
I am Bob on the Twitch chat said that the Penguin is being set up for an HBO Max spin-off show. I didn't know that, but that one I would definitely watch because
sure.
with Colin Farrell playing the Penguin, that's going to be a good show. It's going to be a lot less dark, and that's the thing with the Penguin. He brought like this comedy and light to such a dark movie,
I feel like that. Not for nothing, this movie could have been a better series than a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it's because with so much was going on, they probably had a better chance of, or could have done better making it a series than a movie. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I'll say this, like I said in the beginning, was still comparing the villains to the older villains that I'm so used to.
Right.
Now with the Riddler, I did find myself, and I told Andy this during the movie and Angel, that I'm sitting there watching, listening to the riddles that he was dropping, trying to figure them out. I did like what the riddles that he did come up with.
Mhm.
But once again, I'm sitting there thinking of Jim Carrey the whole entire time, and comparing the two throughout the whole entire movie to see what it was. But with the Riddler, the one thing that I did like about him was the riddles that he dropped, and
I did like
that one along the movie.
I really like the riddles. I didn't like that. I feel they gave the audience no chance on figuring out what the riddles were. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right, right.
Yeah,
Like there
right.
was no way
For
that
sure.
I was going to figure those out. Unlike when I played like Arkham Asylum on the PS3, and the Riddler's leaving around clues. I'm like, oh, okay, I can figure that one out. But in
Right.
this movie, there wasn't one riddle that I was like, I think I know what it is. And then when they say it, I was like, oh
Definitely,
yeah,
yeah.
of course. But yeah, that's
For the time period that they had this movie out, and then for the time that
You
they
would
gave you
think.
the riddles, yeah, you would think they'd give you some time, like drop a riddle, let the audience think about
Yeah.
it, come back, and then him people figure it out.
I think a lot of the
you're
issue
right.
with that too is the sound. Like, I felt like everybody was muffled. Like, everybody was talking too, like, too, like,
Dark.
deep, like trying to dark. Like, they didn't. It was. If you
Everybody-
don't pay attention,
yeah.
you're gonna miss out on a lot of stuff.
everybody was talking almost like if they were trying to console somebody. Like nobody had much emotion in their
Right.
voices or anything like that.
Mhm.
And then like going back to the
Couldn't show the
riddles,
Batman. He was so sad the whole time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Every
Emo
time,
Batman.
one thing I said was every time you look at Batman, he looks like he's about to pass out. You know, he has like
Yeah.
this look in his face. He's kind of wobbly a little bit. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
what is going
I
on?
told Guyland, I'm like, every time I see him without his mask on, I'm like, Twilight. That's
yeah,
that's
right.
what I was
That's
thinking.
true. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
He looked very
This
fragile.
guy
yeah. He
out
did.
of the sun, like he's about to die.
Well, you can tell he doesn't go out during
What's
the day because he put those sunglasses on in that one
Every time he
scene.
would go outside, it's
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
That's the little details that you see,
Yeah,
like
right.
that they did good with, like his pale skin. You know what I'm saying? Like him putting on the glasses, you can tell he don't get a lot of time outside. So you can see that the emo part in that, like that, how that played out. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
it's just I feel like they should have explained that more. That way you can kind of like get his character more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if they would have did a better job explaining why he is that way, you know, not just because his parents died. That's like a given. Like we know
Right.
that,
That's a
but
given.
like
Yeah.
right, like why is he here? Like why did he get to that point? Where did he learn? Like how did he at this age? How did he learn his skills or how did he get them? You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
Yeah. Right.
he just threw him in there and just like okay,
There was no
you know?
backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I
One
mean,
thing-
My thing
besides,
as a non movie watcher or a person who knows nothing about Batman character or anything, and I come to watch this movie, like I said earlier, what do I know from it? Like, what did I come out? So, like, what happened? Like, this guy just upset about life? Like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to make a movie not just for the fans of the character, but for everyone else who may be watching the movie for the first time. It's not the second or third movie; it's the first of this trilogy that
The
they're
trilogy,
putting out.
Yeah.
So I feel as if you have to, or they should have put more of a backstory in it so that people who don't know anything about it can be like, okay, now I understand. I'm with what's going on.
Yeah. One thing going back to the riddles, like Guyland said, they gave us no time to try and figure it out or like other little clues so that the audience can try and figure out the riddle. It would literally be like, you know, James Gordon, that's his name, right? James Gordon?
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah, the
detective?
commissioner. He would read the
Right.
riddle and he'll be like, you know, what's black and white and red all over? And Batman would be like, a newspaper. You know what I mean? Like it'd be like 2
Right,
seconds
yeah,
later
right,
he
right.
knew the
Yeah, right.
he knew the answer. I'm just like, wow.
like if you had to give this movie a score, I hate score movies, but I guess
Well, before we get
One-
to that, let's go on to how did you feel about
Jim.
Alfred? I didn't like him.
Oh, okay.
I didn't
No.
like this
I
version
felt like
of Alfred.
he wasn't used much. He was
Right.
kind of like
Yeah.
another
Side
thing,
character.
like you don't really know much
Yeah.
about him. Like
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the best
another
Alfred is
character
from
that
the
was-
Dark Knight
yeah.
trilogy. He is I can't remember his name, the actor, but by far the best.
Oh,
Yeah.
Alfred.
I forgot. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then one more, the Batmobile. How'd you guys feel about it?
It's okay.
No.
I like the sound of it.
I
But-
love
Yeah.
the sound.
But that was
the
my
biggest
issue
thing for
with,
me.
That I told Garland, like I just didn't understand where the movie was taking place at, because at some points the
Yeah.
cars looked like they were in the 90s, and then when he was chasing down, or in the chase scene, they had like a brand new Maserati. So you don't know what's what
Right,
time
right.
frame it
Yeah.
is. So it's just like so the car.
Might as well have put a Honda Civic with a supercharger.
Yeah. No, I
I
really
did like the
Yeah.
sound though.
I didn't
The sound was great.
yeah, the sound was amazing. Like that was one thing for me where in one of the chase scenes, when you hear the car, you're like, oh damn, the Batman's
Yeah.
there. You know what I mean? It was like
That-
this growl.
That was the best thing of
Yeah,
the movie is
yeah.
that chase scene.
But you didn't see the car.
Yeah.
It was like
Right.
in shadows,
Sound-
you
the
know,
sound of it,
100% of the time. So you
Yeah.
really couldn't see what the Batmobile looked
What
like.
it looked like.
Yeah, as
exactly.
opposed to like,
Yeah, we're
you know,
we're
the old
definitely
school
more.
Batmobiles.
Yeah, we're definitely more used to the bulkier type kind of Batmobiles, aside from like the older ones where it was a
Yeah.
lot more, like a classic
Yeah.
car. I feel
Well,
like when
even
this
the,
one came out,
Go ahead. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Oh no, so I mean, when this one came out, I'm pretty sure they used a classic as well.
On this
But
one?
I think, yeah, on this one.
Yeah, I am Bob. In
Um,
chat says they used a '69 Charger.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see that. It seems that they put too much on it to make it seem like how they wanted to, as it
Yeah.
like blend in with everybody. I feel like there was a lot of stuff on the Batmobile that just didn't need to be there. With, obviously, to make the sound, you need that stupid oversized engine that most of the Batmobiles had, but just the time period, as everyone else was bringing up, it was just way different. You have a classic with like a nuclear engine on the back. It really didn't make much sense.
Yeah, I would say my.
I'll
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead,
Like,
Mose.
Batman Begin, that the best one I got.
I
I
think
like
the
to be
best
able,
one. I'm gonna look it up here, but for me, the best one, it's either the George Clooney, the one that the ride is based off of in Six Flags.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it's the George Clooney car. That one to me is like the classic OG Batmobile. When I think of Batmobile, that's what I think about.
Like when you take your little rubber band and you make it into the Batmobile.
right.
Like that Batmobile, like the one that if you look at it, you know that's the Batmobile. Like if you looked at this car, you would never say, "Oh, I think that's a Batmobile." You
Well,
know what
But
I
I
mean?
we
think
Like,
couldn't see the
that,
car. We couldn't see the car.
but yeah, that's true. But I
right,
think they did that because of the style of the movie. Like he doesn't really show a lot of like high tech like gear, so they made it more like a natural car, and he's gonna hopefully progress into the more futuristic stuff that we're used to seeing. You know what I'm saying? So I did like that aspect of it. But like you said, we didn't really get to actually see the car. Like you always saw that for the
Yeah.
front or the back, and that was it. And very dark.
and no, Mo, the Batman Begins, Batmobile was the armored tank looking
Right,
type jump.
right.
I
Yeah.
like. I
But
like
not
to
that
be
one.
able to run through the front of a building and come out to the back.
Right, right. To
Yeah.
be able to do those things. My whole thing is, like I said, and we will do another video where we're giving our thoughts on the whole movie, and it's more of a spoiler once everyone gets a chance to. The movie actually drops on what, Friday? And once everyone gets a
Tomorrow
Tomorrow
will
night.
be the
Tomorrow
yeah.
night. Yeah.
once everyone actually gets a chance to watch it, we'll do another video where we speak more so on the movie and what our real thoughts are. Because like I
cool.
said before, I'm more of throughout us five, I am more probably the one who disliked the movie the most. But I feel like Moses has brought up a good point that has me thinking a little different of the movie. Don't get me wrong, still don't like it. But the fact that he makes it known that this movie is more of a realistic movie. Like everything about it, you can see like, oh, that could be a real
It
situation.
could be. Yeah.
And I'm comparing that to the Batman that I know and the Batman that I like
Right.
and the Batman that was portrayed in this movie, and that's where my conflicts come into it because I'm there like that's not my Batman. Like the whole entire movie I'm watching like that's not my Batman. And when we get into that video, I'll tell you a lot of reasons why and I can see where Moses says like it's more realistic and that's why he likes it and things and I can understand that, but it's still not what I like.
To still be Batman.
Right.
Get it?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, right.
Be realistic, but at the end of the day, it's Batman. So
Yeah.
how
Right.
realistic do you want to be?
You're right.
Right, yeah,
You're right.
understandable, right. One thing I did want to say too is I got a lot of vibes, like Saw vibes, the movie Saw, you know,
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
and
But then. Yeah.
and whoever's watching this or listening to this, you'll see when you go watch the movie, some of the things the Riddler does is like I thought I was watching a Saw movie, you know.
It's dark.
So,
It's dark.
yeah, it's dark. It's very dark, and I was just like, wow, this is like it's literally a horror movie. So,
Especially like when this is not really a spoiler, but when they walk into his room, what movie did it switch up to? You know,
oh yeah,
right,
right, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of medieval type.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I did like how the Riddler used social media. I was like, all right. So, and then you did say, Guyland, there goes some of your answers. You know, it's social media. He's using social media. So that tells you the time period. It's at least 2007, you know?
Now you would think
You would think, but
Right.
rumors that it took place in the 90s.
oh
2007 makes
no.
them too.
You know what I mean? Because he had all the chat and 13
Right,
million
but they said
viewers
it-
and, you know
They
what I
said
mean?
it took
Followers
place
and all
in the
that.
90s with technology, with like that's their thing. It's supposed to take place in the 90s, but with modern technology, which kind of stupid. I
Yeah,
don't
it
know.
doesn't make sense.
See, I will say this. It's not a spoiler because everyone knows that Batman's mom died. But
I didn't know that.
in a in a scene, in a scene.
Spoiler
that's
alert.
not necessarily- Yeah, in a scene, especially if you've never seen Batman. What is this? In a scene, they do show, her not gravesite or tombstone, and her date when she died was on there. And I thought I caught it, and I asked Andy if that was the right date, but I'm not exactly sure. So I think it looks older, but I think, like Mo said, it's kind of. Believe it was shot.
I think it's Sky Amazing Guy on the Twitch chat says that where he said it takes place in modern time, and I Am Bob says they had Samsung Galaxy phones. So
Right, but I'm almost certain.
Yeah, but when you look at some of the vehicles and where a lot of the things, it says different. You know what I'm
and
saying?
then
Like,
the election
I'm almost
was
certain
in
they had her
2001.
dying in 2000. Was it?
The election, I guess the Thomas
Well,
Wayne
you're saying the
election,
election was
Sky
in
Amazing Guy.
01.
Yeah, it was in 01. So
so I'm thinking late '90s, early 2000s.
Hold on, that which election was the which
when
which
Thomas
one was
Wayne
in
died,
01?
Thomas Wayne
Yeah.
election when he was running.
Oh, because I
was
swear that
2001,
mom's what's the name
according
said
to Sky Amazing Guy.
2004.
Yeah.
I swear that the tombstone said for her 2004 was when she died.
Well, it's
She
possible
could've
because I
been
think she was still
after
alive during, while he was
the
running.
election.
But who knows?
What do you mean?
know.
No. That's what I'm saying. So I mean, they both died in the same time. They didn't die
Yeah.
different.
So if
separately. Unless
he
they
was
changed it up for this story.
in 2001, if that was the election, and Bruce Wayne was what 9 years old or 10, and he's early 20s now, so that seems about right, or late 20s. It seems
right.
about modern time.
Yeah, right.
So,
But
but
you'd have
again,
never-
I could you wouldn't be able to tell that with the way the movie shot and stuff like that. But
Yeah, right.
She's that
What-
one Uber vehicle or whatever it was. The taxi was like a vehicle from like the '70s, bro.
Yeah,
I was
for
like,
real.
yo, they still
Right.
driving them? No, seriously, look it up. The vehicle was so
I think they
old.
did
You're
that
like,
more for like the grittiness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the
They
Gotham, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I get that.
seem like it's Gotham City, so they had to keep it like a little gritty.
yeah,
nah,
one thing.
the grittiness is one thing.
Right, yeah, that's true. One thing I do want to
Right.
bring up is the final scene. I don't want to ruin anything again, any more spoilers, but the final scene, I did like what happened along with the Riddler and the Batman and all that stuff that happened around the city. I hate.
I might have been sleeping by then.
I'm not gonna lie. There were a couple times where there was just so much dialogue that I'm like
You
almost
doze off.
dozing off. Yeah, almost dozing off. So, but
Or popcorn to stay awake.
I cannot stand what's her name, Bella Real, the lady that was running for mayor, and she won.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
could not stand her character for nothing. She is literally the worst character in that movie, and quite possibly the worst character in any Batman movie I've ever seen.
Gee,
She was
Jeez.
so
Jeez.
bad.
I
And
didn't even know
then-
she had that much time on
She
the screen.
didn't, but that's the problem. Like, so little
had
time,
enough
and she
time.
still ruined it. And then there were parts where she was like talking to Batman, she was talking
Okay, yeah.
she was trying to get Bruce
Unrealistic.
Wayne's
It
attention
wasn't realistic.
at a certain event that, again, I don't want to
Yeah,
ruin,
yeah,
but
yeah,
she's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
wait here for me,
Was-
I'll be back. I'm like, who are you?
Right,
Like,
right.
and then there was an instance too where, how are you still walking right now?
Yes.
I'm like,
We'll get into
what?
we'll get into that.
We'll get
Listen,
into
we'll
that.
get into
Yeah,
that
later,
Yes, we'll
but-
get
Yeah,
into
we'll-
that. I
that
agree.
I was
But we'll
like,
definitely
what
get into
is
that.
going
Yeah.
on?
I agree.
That's what
could
I'm
not-
nitpicking in
could
the
not
next
stand it.
video.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I could
Brian,
not
let
stand her.
me ask you a question. What did you think of his suit?
His suit, I liked it. I think it was a good suit. Now, I think he felt or looked very uncomfortable in it.
I
There were
disagree.
times where he looked really, really
Guy weighed
stiff.
like 50 pounds.
Yeah, I
Those
mean, like
spurs he
there were
had on.
some times where it's like you're speaking to him and it looked like
Cowboy
that
Batman.
suit was holding his neck back. He was just like,
Dude, have you
looking
not
mad
see
dumb
Garland's?
trying to
I mean, not
turn.
Garland. Brian's too young, but Michael Keaton, his suit looked
Oh yeah,
uncomfortable. His mask,
was
where it
rubber,
just
though.
like
That joint was
It was
stiff.
like-
He was like,
Yeah, right.
I'm Batman. Like I'm like,
Right.
yeah, that one was uncomfortable. At least in this one, it looked like, it fit him well.
it looked heavy.
Like he had a good tailor.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I
sure
mean,
it was.
but
I mean, it was
like a bat
freaking
suit
metal
from
bulletproof.
H&M. It was the H&M bat suit.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't care for
happen
the
to like
mask.
it.
The mask, I didn't care for it too much.
None of us in this video right now could have fit in that bat suit.
Well, that's because we're all like 373
Fat.
pounds right now.
Well, that is true.
I don't think they make bat suits with B
That's for
cups.
another day. That's for another day.
But no, I like the bat suit. I did like how the batarang was on his chest. I didn't realize that until like the second half of the movie where he took it off, you know, and it just stuck to his chest. I did like that part.
Yeah, a lot of
Notice when he
times.
was putting it back on, it was almost like he had to like force it in.
It's
Like,
magnetic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It wasn't manufactured correctly. He's like, oh man, I gotta work on this more.
Yeah.
but
yeah.
but Moses, that's also not like a new thing though. Like
With
it's
the
not the
batarang
first time. Like
on the chest?
Yeah, that comes from his chest. It's not. It's not a.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like. I mean, see, with Batman not having any powers or anything, he's usually left with his belt and
Yeah,
what he
gadgets.
has on
Yeah.
it. And I feel like they dropped the ball with that.
Yeah.
in this movie.
Like I'm about to say that his fight scenes, which I thought that were actually really good. You know, when they actually got to
Yeah,
fight,
yeah.
they were really good. It just wasn't enough.
He got
But
jacked up a couple
it's
times
another
though, man.
Batman that can't throw a kick. He threw one kick, and that was towards the end of the movie when he kicked the guy off the thing.
Yeah.
I guess the suit is too
Yeah,
heavy
the
or something.
suit's too
I don't
heavy.
know. Like
Again,
Ed Truth.
his leg weighed like 5 pounds. He can't do that.
Ed Truth on Twitch said that Michael
Let me-
Keaton stated he was claustrophobic in the suit, and that Michael Keaton actually read this. Sky Amazing Guy said Michael Keaton couldn't even poop in his suit. And I did read one of the fun facts is that they made this suit so that he was able to use the bathroom while still in the suit. They didn't have to take 3 hours to take it off.
well,
and
you
put
saw
it
he
back on.
jacked his leg with the adrenaline, so he had holes.
Yeah, it's
everywhere.
true, right? Yeah.
Let's not get into it though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Speaking of the suit and the fighting, which most of us, I mean, pretty much everyone probably agrees that we enjoyed. Does it show Batman and his League of Assassins training though?
No.
It was a complete different
Yeah, it was
Fighting.
definitely different. Yeah,
style. It was like he went to the fighting of USC and learned how to
Yeah.
fight and got busy rather than.
Yeah.
And that's where like a lot of problems I come with, like the Batman and the Batman story that I know, and then what came. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the fight scenes where he was fighting. It
Yeah.
just didn't go along with the Batman story.
no, he
and
definitely trained with Chuck Liddell. Like that was
Yeah,
some Chuck
right.
Liddell punches.
There's no technique in
Right.
his fighting. It was just
Not at
straight
all.
punches and like
Yeah, right.
you know,
Yeah.
short kicks. That's it. But
There were times though, like when he was fighting people, I was like, "This guy's going to kill him." You know,
Well,
like, I felt like he wasn't going to hold back.
Vengeance, though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
He
right.
should have just shot them for us
Scene.
back.
Yeah,
and beat
right.
them.
Right. But he was coming with the vengeance, that whole Batman thing. He was coming with that whole aspect of it, that whole world. But also maybe we don't know, and they do a from when I read this was supposed to be his second year after putting on the suit or whatnot, like becoming Batman, and this is when it
I
happened.
think he
Oh,
did say
yeah.
that in the
They
movie.
Maybe-
noticed that in the movie. He
Okay.
had a journal that he was writing in.
Well,
So maybe he
Gordon
didn't
said
get to. Maybe he didn't step away yet. Maybe he didn't go get the training and everything.
Well,
at
here it
this
says
point in time,
Ed
in this
Truth.
movie.
Ed Truth on Twitch says that he was trained by Alfred in this movie, so that makes a
yeah,
lot
I
of
did
sense.
see Alfred say something.
That makes
That
a
was
lot of sense.
that was
Something about-
hinted at.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And Alfred was trained by Chuck Liddell, so
that.
kind of lost a little something,
Now
you
that
know,
makes
down the
sense.
line.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's why he couldn't kick. And you know, Chuck Liddell don't kick, so that makes a lot of sense.
Makes
So-
sense.
Now, if it was Anderson Silva, there won't even be in Arkham City. It would be like Pure bliss.
I don't know. His legs are
I-
kind of weak.
Yeah.
Got that leg
Let
kick.
me let me ask y'all what you thought about the Bat Cave.
There wasn't much to it. Like you didn't
Not
get to
at
see
all.
it down there much. Down there, like it
There
wasn't
was
really
a lot of bats.
right. It was a lot of. It wasn't a big focal point in the movie. Like
Oh,
he was out there. I guess they just wanted it to be about him. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Being out there, and I just thought some of the character interaction with them was kind of weird too. You know what I'm saying? Like some of them cops were like just I don't know, just
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it was just a little weird. But
Yeah.
I kind of do like the way they went with it. But I don't know. Like I said, they would have explained his character a little bit better, like why he was the way he was. I think I would have got along better with his character or the way he portrayed the Batman.
So a lot of the portrayals, one of the fun facts I found was that Matt Reeves cites the Batman comics, Batman Ego, Batman Year One and Batman The Long Halloween as influences of the film. Again, I'm not very well versed on Batman comics. I've seen some of the anime or cartoons, but you know, a lot of this was based on those comics that maybe not a lot of people have,
Well, exactly.
read or
There's not a
seen.
lot of like,
So,
right.
and
Yeah,
then
Be
the
a
Batman
hardcore
Halloween.
fan.
Right, I can see where they say with the Batman with the Halloween, it's more less major villains and more like the mob,
yeah,
where you get a lot of that in this movie, which once I brought up before, it brings us back to what Mo says. It's more based in reality type than these over the head villains are doing extra for no reason.
right.
So there's that.
Another thing they said was that Matt Reeves, let me find it here. His version of the Riddler was inspired by the serial killer, the Zodiac killer, um,
Oh,
who
that's a
operated
good
in
movie.
California
That's
in
a
the
real
1960s.
yeah.
So,
That's a
uh,
real story. And
yeah, so I could kind of see that. Let me see. I have a couple other fun facts here. Initially, Ben Affleck was set to star and direct. The villain of the film would have been Deathstroke, played by Joe
Deathstroke.
Manganiello.
That's
That would
what
have
they
been a dope
needed.
movie. That
That's
would have
what
been a dope. It,
Deathstroke and Batman going at it would be everything.
yeah, it says, and the screenplay would have prominently featured Arkham Asylum. But it says Matt Reeves actually enjoyed the original script that Ben Affleck had been preparing, comparing it to a James Bond film, but he opted to not use it because he wanted to make a more noir, detective-driven story, which he sure as hell did. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed.
Let me see what else I have here. Oh, one of the things I thought was real interesting. Colin Farrell, obviously, was in a fat suit. Initially, he was supposed to start gaining weight for the role, but he declined to do so because of a previous movie that he was in. He gained weight and he got super sick, so he refused to do that. But he used the prosthetics and ended up going to like a local Starbucks to see if anybody recognized him. And clearly, I mean, you cannot see Colin Farrell in that at all. So
Just his voice.
right, exactly. So
Yeah.
this is the first time that the Riddler's in the movie since Batman Forever in '95, and the first live-action Batman film to feature the Penguin since Batman Returns in '92. Um, Again, at 175 minutes, this film is the longest Batman film to date, and the second longest theatrically released comic book movie behind Avengers Endgame. And then Commissioner Gordon, the first African American to play Commissioner Gordon. Yeah, that's about it as far as like fun facts that I found. I thought were pretty interesting. What else you guys got? Let me check my notes. I was taking notes. I like sitting all the way in the back because we can take some notes and stuff. The movie was definitely very political. Like it felt like a very politically charged movie within Arkham itself.
Very
You
much
know,
so.
um, which was fine, but at the same time, it's like kind of tired of that. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, that's I can't talk about a lot of this stuff that I actually took notes of. That's gonna have to wait for the next one because this I already made the mistake of spoiling some things here. But
What did you guys think about Gordon though?
I didn't like him.
I liked him, but that's the thing though. Every character, I don't know how to put it. Every character was like,
Weak.
yeah, it was just like they had this like real. I can't even say
Mildly
timidness. I don't
monotone.
know what very monotone, but it was almost like everyone that spoke to everyone
Sleep.
else.
They were all asleep,
Yeah,
bro.
they were asleep and they were just like talking to somebody that like they were just trying to console them. You know, there was like nothing else. I don't know. It was just so weird, man. It didn't
Yeah.
matter the character except for the penguin. It was
Everybody wanted that
like they were
deep
Moby.
voice.
Yeah, like they were Moby.
Yeah. And and it was like everybody was speaking the same, and it got to the point it was like, all right, well, everyone
They
just
tried.
say you're Batman. It's like
They tried too
you
hard to
all
make
want to
it too
be.
dark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Batman himself didn't even sound like Batman per se. I didn't get that rasp,
I didn't
that
mind that because
Batman normally has.
that went too
He's
far in the
just
Dark Knight trilogy, in my opinion.
yeah.
Right.
Especially that
It
last
was it
movie.
was
So I was okay with that.
But there
But
was
yeah,
no fear in his
yeah, right,
voice.
yeah.
right. Yeah, I agree with
There
that
was
part.
there was points where I thought in the suit it would zoom in on him and it looked like he was just gonna start crying. I don't know if it
Oh
was
yeah,
like makeup in his eyes,
It was emo
but I mean
Batman.
yeah,
like he literally looked like he was gonna start crying in some scenes that didn't deserve tears. Like it wasn't an emotional scene.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, he was definitely again, he's going through stuff, right? He's as someone put
You
that
know, make excuses for Batman.
this is year 2 of him being Batman. Somebody put in the chat where
Yeah.
you know he's trying to figure things out. You know, it can't be easy being
Yeah,
Batman. It can't
yes,
be easy
but
losing both your parents. You know, I mean, I can't imagine.
But it's not year 2 of his parents dying though.
right,
His
but
parents didn't just die where he's just like, oh man, I'm going to fight these people, but I'm crying halfway. I'm
yeah, but it's
beating
still
you up
year
over
20 of him
anger
not knowing
and
how
everything.
why they died or how they died until this movie. Apparently, he kind of gets some ideas, but he's living with this for 20 some years, wondering, all right, why are my parents dead? You know, he knows they got killed.
Yeah, but I get the anger, but like Brian said, there was points in time where it's just like, oh, this guy's out eating Jello, looking like he's about to cry. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to cry. Like,
Yeah, and not just
happy
that.
scene,
Like, even,
happy
like
scene,
physical,
do happy scenes.
like his physical. Like he didn't even
Mm-hmm.
like if there was a couple scenes. I'm
Yeah,
like,
he looked
oh my
anorexic.
God, are they about to kill the Batman? Like I was like, is this how this is gonna end? Because you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was like, you know, it's like, come on, bro, just get up.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the
Right.
one. I feel like I'm
Not
the
my
one defending
Batman.
this.
Not my
Right.
bad.
I feel like I'm the one defending this movie, man. It's like,
Right.
you know, I'm trying to put
No,
my.
I mean, I liked it. I said I liked it. The
Yeah,
problem
yeah.
is that he's gonna have 2 Batmans that are coming in theater here in a couple months,
Right.
and they're gonna, I think, outshine him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
you got
true.
the best
Yeah,
Batmans
that's right.
coming.
And what's it? Michael Keaton's coming out again.
Michael Keaton and Ben
Yeah.
Affleck.
I'm excited for that, but I think, you know, again, I try to put myself in someone's shoes who lost their parents. Right now, there is no closure if you don't know why you lost your parents or why they got killed. So that's something he's probably living with day in and day out. Depressed, clearly depressed, you know, and then still trying to be the, you know, hero that he feels everyone deserves. But like he said it himself, you know, I wanted to be something and ended up being something completely different, which brought more crime into the city.
But they don't
Like,
really explain
Crying?
that.
Did you
They
say it
don't really
brought more
explain that,
crying
you know
into
what
the
I'm saying?
city?
Crime.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah, but crying.
I mean,
too,
I guess
apparently.
I mean, this is
Definitely.
vengeance, Batman. So I guess you got that.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna have to watch it again. Angel, you still got that ticket?
nah, he got the refund.
I did.
But yeah, no, I mean,
Definitely,
I definitely want to watch it again. I don't think I'll watch it again in theaters. I'll wait till
No.
HBO Max or whatever it is. But what were you gonna say, Brian?
No, I mean, towards the end of the movie, I mean, definitely we did see where, you know, you could tell he was dealing with a lot. He had a whole bunch on his mind. There were points where you felt like he was focusing maybe too much on one aspect rather
Right.
than the task at hand. But I know that at the end of the movie, I felt that he started to find a purpose for the Batman. Some of the things that he was saying, the way that he was helping, I think that he was starting to realize who he was meant to be
Mhm.
rather than what he was trying to be. Because I
makes
think
sense,
he was
right?
As
seeing
in
it
the
as he was
symbol,
maybe
yeah.
in the wrong light.
Those are some deep words, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That was pretty deep.
If I was Batman, I would be crying right now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd be crying from how jacked up I got throughout that whole movie because
Yeah, he
he
did
got
get
his
beat
ass
up a
whooped a
lot,
couple
but
times. Yeah, he
yeah.
got beat up. I mean, he did some beating
But
up
it's
as
all right
well,
because
but
it's a young Batman. It's a
right,
young
yeah.
Batman, so.
So I mean, you know, the next 2 movies, who knows? You know, even with Batman Begins, the way I loved Batman Begins. Like Batman Begins to me was such an amazing origin story for Batman.
And then he ruined it. But let's not get
Right.
into that right
Well,
now.
the second
That's
movie
for the
was
next
good
video.
too, you know, with like the Joker and stuff like that. But yeah, man, it's just I'm hoping it can build upon this movie as, you know, all right, now this is year 7 or year 8 Batman, and then the third one is, you know, year 15 Batman, and see where it goes from there. But
He's gonna have
you
to
know,
gain some size for the next movie, though. He's gonna have to do
Right.
something.
Or do a push-up or two.
I
But
don't.
they're gonna have to give him
I don't think he's
body
capable. He don't got the body type to like get. I mean,
Well-
look at what's his name though? Christian Bale. He wasn't big.
He was just tall.
But
Yeah, he wasn't
But
big
Ben
at all.
Affleck, Ben Affleck.
Now
got
Ben
big for
Affleck
the
is
movie.
swole. Yeah, Ben Affleck is swole. I keep forgetting he was
He
Batman.
looked intimidating in that suit. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, you know, like,
but you know,
I
so-
think a good thing about this movie. I mean, not a good thing, but other Batmans they usually come out and they try to be a symbol for the city because they're trying to put on for Gotham. and they're like believing the city, they're trying to bring him back. I felt at point in times they tried to hint at that with him, but also I feel like this whole movie was just him and personal, like he was doing this for himself. Like the whole Avengers thing, it was a personal thing. At times they did talk. He did talk about like Gotham and putting fear into criminals and all that stuff and everything. But all the other Batmans, I feel like they went harder on that. Like they made the symbol, like they wanted the symbol to be known. I mean, they tried to push that whole symbol thing with this movie, but I didn't feel it. I felt like it was just like a vengeance on his parents, and that's it. Like the whole thing.
I did like how they played the whole fear thing though. Like, you see all the thugs outside and they're doing bad things, and
Batman,
they see the light.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, they see the
but
light, and it's like, all right.
And then he steps into the light, and you're like, come on, this guy.
The movie starts out like that, saying they're
Yeah.
showing fear, but then it kind of like disappears.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then you're just getting into these characters, and then that's what I'm saying. There's like, we'll say that for the next video when we nitpick at it, but it's just like, that was my big thing. Like there was like, it just didn't stick to one point. There was too much going on for me. Like, I don't know.
Well, with that being said, let's give it a rating. What we want to do, a 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 scale? Let's do 1 to 10. We'll start with you, Angel. What did you think as far as a rating?
Good 6.5.
Oh, damn. Damn. So if you're 6.5, well, I can't wait to see what Colin has to say.
Right.
Andy, what'd you give this movie?
I Jackson asked me earlier what I thought about it. I gave it a 7.5, maybe 8. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're lying.
How about you, Brian?
6 for sure.
A 6?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Kylan, what'd you give it?
I the whole time I was going to give it a 6. I'm going to keep it at a 6. Although I feel like you did bring up some good points about what the movie kind of is set in reality, but it's still just a 6 at top.
That's why I went from 6.5.
I thought about doing the 0.5. I was going to go 6 to the 0.5 with Angel, but I figured I'll just keep it at a 6.
For me, I gave it a strong 8, maybe even an 8.5. But I was gonna give it an 8.5. Then I remembered I almost dozed off like 4 times during some of the long dialogue. And there's no movie like I never dozed off during Spider-Man: Homecoming. I never dozed off
8.5
in Avengers. So I'm giving it an 8 because of myself almost dozing off. So that's where I stand with that. But yeah, man. Any closing thoughts?
Stay tuned. Wait for the next video where we really dive deep into how we really feel about the movie.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely by the end of the weekend, early next week, we'll be putting out a full spoiler on the movie. So if you haven't watched it during the weekend, that's on you, but we'll put out a full spoiler. Definitely nitpick like Andy said. But with that being said, again, you can catch us here on twitch.com/The Entertainment Plaza. This will be up on YouTube very shortly, so you can search for us on Entertainment Plaza podcast, and hopefully by tomorrow morning it'll be on your favorite podcast service. So you can check us out on Spotify, Apple Music,
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that good stuff to all the channels that we're gonna have.
That'll definitely help us. So, but for myself and the rest of the crew, thank you for watching. We'll check you out next time. Peace.